Greetings everyone, here's Lodrick and this is the game War in the Pacific Admirals Edition. This is scenario 1 with no modification and standard 1-day turn setup. KilRoy commands Allied forces and for me it is the Empire of Japan. We're seeing here still a high concentration of Allied forces around Saipan, Pegan and also Marcus Island. I think at least 3 or even all 4 American fleet carriers are in the Central Pacific. And this is April of 42, this early on, so high concentration of forces near Japan is a little unlikely, I would say. But of course, this is always related to how the player won't act. There was some submarines near Ceylon, failed. Here's a British submarine. It's the Philippine Sea, but also failed. And here I can find a small unescorted light cargo ship on the way in or out of Marcus Island, killed by deck gun. And the Yorktown get a torpedo hit. Again, out of 6 torpedoes, 1 torpedo hit. I think I think 3 turns ago I hit the Lexington, and now it's the Yorktown get 1 torpedo hit. So again, slowly but steadily I can create here 1 or 2 hits on each of these carriers. Not really destroy them, but force them maybe to return to Pearl Harbor. And 1 more cargo hit in Marcus Island. At the same time, British destroyers bombarding Rangoon, but yeah, not really much firepower here. This is much stronger, so the heavy battleships are back at Marcus Island. But maybe creating here a lot of fatigue, this you will never see in this combat report. And I land some troops on Norfolk Island to have a forward base between Nomaya and New Zealand. This is the invasion of Saipan. I was waiting for this. Now it's happened. My coastal battery can create here some damage on 2 of these AKs. But most of the unloading is all done. But at least something. A little payback time for all of the many ships I lost in my invasion attempts. And I can also intercept here 1 cargo ship going into Wellington. And it was fuel on board, so it will burn and very likely be dead soon. Next attempt to catch this 1 destroyer. It looks like all of these torpedo attacks are failing. Yeah. So two destroyers are here. But no success. Now my H6 try again. That also failed. So many torpedoes cost a lot of supplies. So now the bombardment in China. Also, this British forces looks like they're retreating. But this is, I think, still an open, clear terrain text, so I can create a good numbers of casualties. And here are also units are all dying, so they are all disabled. These are all units out of supplies. Now KilRoy catch me on my way to intercept his troops. I try to catch the space here to cut him off from any supply source. But I'm still worried that maybe there's some stronger garrison waiting for me. And some British airplanes trying to slow down my tanks. So no carrier airstrike today. More sinking ships. Oh no, it's this afternoon. Next attempt. I still don't know if it's maybe not better to maybe use bombs against destroyers. But one torpedo hit would be enough to sink it. Oh, and here finally is the hit. Okay, so the Nizam is more or less dead. Now maybe there's an option still to enter Rangoon port and stay there, but then, yeah, how long it needs to fix this, to repair this. And I'm also not sure if there's any fuel and supplies left in Rangoon. Because if I understand it right, this ships was all on black smoke, so they are, I think, out of fuel, or they have some system damage. This is, I think, some indication that something is wrong with the ships. Okay, no attack. So this H6 are normally very like a Catalina. They have the range and they can load 2 torpedoes. So I would always train them in search and torpedo attack. Not really for bombing attack, but this kind of pilots they need to they first, of course, they must detect the enemy, and if they are not If they have the time to make a torpedo attack, this can have a big impact in the future. Of course, the H6 is very sensitive against interception. If there's any enemy interceptor fighter in the air, they will die easy. But later the Japanese have the 8, the H8, and if you have especially the K2 edition, it is even for interceptor I think not more so easy to stop. Like a B-17, very tough. Good, the British attacking Auckland, my troops here, suppress them. The damage is maybe not critical high, but again, this will create fatigue. And if I cannot overcome the defender in Auckland, I cannot take the base. Then I cannot supply them well. Oh, so it's all little critical here. This is likely the destroyer go down, but can also be any cargo ship. And now we have here British battleships. So very well, I just escaped with my cargo and heavy cruisers because against battleships I had no chance. So here are 4 British battleships. Okay, so what I can take out of this is I cannot bring any reinforcements to New Zealand. Enemy carriers, enemy battleships, and I have only escort carriers and only heavy cruisers. I can only hope that my submarines can create here something, but this looks now like all of my forces in New Zealand are trapped. And they must survive somehow. And wait that I can send reinforcements, but the question is where I can get reinforcements. I have reinforcements in India Ocean, in Singapore. This needs weeks before they arrive. And the other ships are all in Japan under repair. This also needs weeks. So it will be complicated. Some smaller forces I try to catch the bases nearby. It's the north side of Australia. Now I attack because I was thinking the Chinese attack maybe failed, so I hope they have low morale, but no, with the forces I have I also cannot really defeat them, so it's a stalemate. We still block each other here. This is the forces KilRoy bring into Saipan, and this time it was much more. Last time was really only a scouting party. And yeah, my forces in Saipan are all broken, destroyed and undersupplied. Now the bombardment on my side, and yeah, they have still some impact. These are all, I think, Navy Guard units. They're all soft and light, and I'm not digged in, so I think I have no fort level. And if I don't have fort level, I think bombardment is always a little stronger. And Auckland is official clear terrain, so best area for tanks and bombardment. Here the same. Luckily my heavy cruisers disabled most of these tanks, so there's not much attack value left for the New Zealand troops that I can maybe hold this. I only can hope that there is no additional reinforcements coming for KilRoy in the future. Good. So I would say a successful day for my submarine fleet. I was able to damage an American fleet carrier, sink some cargo ships, and 1 destroyer. On the land side, the situation in New Zealand getting more critical with now British battleships and carriers cutting off my supply lines, and yeah, it will be not easy. Air losses are relatively light. These are the 2 killed Nell bombers attacking the destroyers at Rangoon. But for this I created also 1 kill on the destroyer. But I also lost H6. So, but I would still say airplanes I can produce. Ships are more important to kill. I mean, if I can kill enemy destroyers and losing for this torpedo bombers, I would always go for this, if the ratio is acceptable. The killed pilots, 2 and 1 wounded. Ship sunk was now last turn. Yeah, Yorktown, yeah, of course, always 1 torpedo hit. And I see here no high numbers of the airplanes destroyed, so of course these ships are not destroyed. The destroyers are missing here, so yeah, don't trust this all too much. China, no change of situation, nothing really happens. Rangoon is also no change. I don't see the task force more, maybe they are back in Rangoon. Everything is peaceful in the Java Sea, no enemy submarines more, there's no base. The only base I think KilRoy can use now is maybe Ceylon or Rangoon, and Rangoon is cut off, so maybe only Ceylon, because I took Darwin. This all looks fine. No enemy presence. So, because New Zealand is simply too far away from New Nomaya that I can really do anything, so I take now Norfolk and build here an air base and maybe a submarine base, and then I have the range to, at least in the northern part, to protect my own fleets, and I can also bring here maybe enough fighters and torpedo bombers in that I can battle this 1 British carrier, because 1 British carrier is not so strong. This can give me an opportunity, but still, Auckland can have enemy fighters, and if KilRoy have here P-40s or whatever, I'm not so sure if I can send enough from Norfolk, and the distance is also too far away. My zeros can only go to 11 normal range and maximum 14, but this will tire them. So I can never fly to Auckland with escort fighters from Norfolk Island. So this means I have issues. Because here are battleships, they blockading Gisborne. Gisborne is now completely destroyed and there's no supplies left, and my forces are okay, disrupted, but okay. But without supplies, it's hard. And here is the supply situation also not so good. And then here my hex, I have enough for 1 or 2 attacks, but not more. And I try to get my forces ready, but there's always some bombardment and this always gives disruption. Tja. And to stay here is really too risky. So you can already see I try to escape here. I just escaped in time, I can say. 1 more turn and the battleships catched me. And I have here more forces coming. 52nd Division is here, but now I cannot unload. So I must maybe wait for the right moment and stay more here outside in the open ocean and see what the carriers are doing and what the battleships are doing. The only good thing is a battleship can maybe make 1 or maximum 2 bombardments, then they must return. So if I have the right timing, I can maybe bring in my forces, unload them before the battleships are back with new ammunition. Yeah. So, but this is a risky operation for sure. At least in Marshall Islands, no activity. Wake, I still see destroyers and other stuff is unloading. And there's the carriers with escort. Somehow they run over one of my submarine. I don't know if it was a rowboat. No, I don't think it was a rowboat. Somewhere I was able to land a torpedo hit on the carrier. Or was this Marcus Island? I really don't know where was the torpedo hit. But here are still many forces. and I really have only my submarines. But they doing their job. They hitting here and there, and some battleships and some. I think I had now 2 torpedo hits on battleships, but each only 1, and 2 torpedo hits on each one fleet carrier. At the same time, my carriers are in Kobe under emergency repair. Still 3. So Shukaku is nearly done. Need a little longer. And then I have maybe something I can at least use for escort duty. Then I can use the carrier maybe to bring in more forces to Ishijima to have a forward base. My battle cruisers are here in Yokohama under repair. Still need more time. It all needs time. All of my heavy assets are normally here disabled for the next 2 weeks. In 2 weeks I will be ready. So maybe beginning of May we have a new engagement, maybe. So far I must rely on my submarine fleet and my land-based air force to keep the sea clean around Japan. Thank you all, see you next time, take care, bye bye.